Hello, everybody, and welcome to the channel. I'm your host for a special live episode of Scientology Stories, and I'm going to bring in my guests for today, which is Liz Ferris and my husband, Mark Headley.
Hey guys.
I'm a Headley sandwich.
Oh, yay!
Hey
I
Liz.
was waiting for that joke. Sorry, everybody.
You had that ready to go.
I did.
Yeah, and so before we get started, I just wanted to take a moment and just talk about the loss that this community suffered today of Doug Kramer. I'm personally just still kind of reeling from it. I think it's every voice in this community is important. Every person matters. For every one person speaking out on YouTube, there are so many other people behind us learning, sharing, everything else. And so it's been a tough day. Let's just call a spade a spade. I'm speaking for myself. Anyway, rest in peace, Doug. We love you. You're amazing. And your legacy will live on in this community. No doubt about that.
Yeah, rest in peace, Doug.
Yeah. But so that's the sad news of today. But Liz, we have been talking about doing this episode with you for quite a while now.
Just a skosh.
What's that?
Just a skosh.
Yes, exactly. Just for a hot minute. Because, given it's that time of the year, we all have loved ones that we've lost to Scientology, which really sucks. And that's a huge part of why we're all here. And Mark and I both worked with your dad for many years. In my
15
case,
years I worked with
14
him.
years. In Mark's case, 15 years. So we wanted to take the time, as you requested, Liz, to share some Bob stories with you and just, you know, in put that hope there because Scientology can't take away your hope ever. And they will
Yeah,
not. We do not grant that to them. So that's why we're here tonight. So that's a positive, right?
absolutely. Any news that fills in gaps is positive for me.
Yeah.
It means the world for me.
Yeah. Yeah, so we have some great stories for you, Liz. I hope you're ready for a fun ride, right, honey?
Yeah, do you want me just to I'll just tell you well, I'll do it like this. So when I arrived to the property in 1990 at the international headquarters in Gilman Hot Springs, Bob had already been there for many years before that. So I only know of the stories when I was there. But when I arrived in May of 1990, Bob Ferris was in the qualifications division of Golden Era Productions. He was an auditor, and or word clear, I'm pretty sure he was an auditor. But when I arrived at the property, they had shut down the manufacturing department of Golden Era Productions that produced the tapes, the cassettes that were L. Ron Hubbard lectures. And we spent months and months trying to fix these machines. And there wasn't a technician that was assigned to the tapes manufacturing area. There was one technician for all of Golden Era Productions, and that was a guy named Bruce. And he was just running around like a crazy person trying to fix, $20 million worth of audio production stuff. And so at a certain point, they couldn't get the tapes machines working correctly again. And it came down to this one Bruce guy couldn't fix everything and the tape stuff by himself. And I don't know if Bob was a technician before and then he got transferred to the qualifications division, or if he just had a technician background. But he was assigned to be the tapes technician. And so, and because we weren't running, the machines didn't work properly, and I was posted as the quality control. I couldn't do any work. I was just doing testing of the tests they would run. And so I was basically assigned full time to just work with Bob to try to fix the machines. So that's how I kind of came to know him, because we were just working together all day and all night, every single day, trying to fix these machines. And when you're doing that, There's a lot of times where, like, if you're waiting for a part to come in, or there's nothing we could really do except for like busy work, or maybe fix another machine that had a different problem we could fix. And so we would just hang out, and he would, I don't remember exactly how this came up, but he had this idea that he would teach me like a verse, and if I could remember it verbatim, then I would teach him a verse of something, and then he would have to learn it verbatim. And then anytime thereafter, if one of us said that verse to the other one verbatim, then the other person would have to say the one they learned. So he decided, I don't even know why, but he decided to teach me a verse of the Bible, which was called, I think it's Matthew 11:28, I want to say. And I know this is inaccurate, but this is the way he taught it to me. And it was, "Come unto me, all ye who have travailed and are heavy laden, for I will refresh you. For such is the kingdom and the everlasting power of the Lord." And that is what he taught me. And I think he was trying to be cheeky, that and that I wouldn't be able to memorize that. And obviously I did, because it's been, that was in 1990.
And to comment on the obvious, like, that's a funny thing to teach a Sea Org member.
Well, yeah, I don't.
You have to just laugh at the comedy in that.
Well, and also, I don't know that if it was just something so weird that he would, there's no way Mark's going to remember this or be able to remember this. And I think it took me about 10 or 15 minutes. He would say it, and then I would say it wrong, and then I would do it again. And then finally I got it. And then he was like, "Okay, do you want to teach me something?" And so I was like, "Okay." And the way the game would work is, as long as I could get it, then he had to do the one I taught him. So I decided that the best thing that I could think of would be the chorus to Billy Idol's Rebel Yell. So I would say, I would go to him, I would say, "In the midnight hour, she cried more, more, more. With a rebel yell, she cried more, more, more. In the midnight hour, babe, more, more, more. With a rebel yell, more, 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 more." Okay, now I don't know what the deal is with Bob, but those more, more, mores just broke his brain. So he could never remember how many more, mores there were and where. And in the midnight hour, on that second line where it says babe, he would forget that. And so he would do the whole thing. And he would just say, "With the rebel yell, she cried." And then he would do the whole thing. And then he'd be like, "Did I get it?" I go, "No, it starts with "in the midnight hour. You started with the rebel yell." So then he would have to do it again. And then this would just go on for hours and hours. And every single day I would just, first thing when I would come in, and we would go to muster, have breakfast, all that. We'd walk into the workspace, and I would go, "Come unto me, all ye who have travailed and are heavy laden, for I will refresh you, for such is the kingdom and the everlasting power of the Lord." And then he would be like, "Oh." And then he would go in the mid, and the way he would sing it was the best, because he would just be walking around fixing stuff, and he would just be saying it the whole time, because he would never get it. He would always mess up the wars. And people would walk in and they go, "What is going on with Bob?" And I go, "Oh, we have a little thing we do, and he has to get this right. Otherwise, he has to keep doing it until he gets it right." And then it got to a point where in the middle of the day, he would just sing the song, just the chorus. He didn't know any of the other parts of the song.
As far as I knew, my dad was not musically inclined. But as for the repair, like he was tone deaf, and he had white man can't dance syndrome.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. It would sound like a dog. With a rebel yell, she cried more.
All due respect to Bob, but clearly that's not where you got your voice from, Liz.
No. But it's funny, because it's like, before I forget, the repair, before he joined the Sea Org, he was a repairman for the Air Force.
Oh,
wow.
Like he repaired jet engines.
That's right. I remember him telling me that, but I didn't remember if he was a technician at the base before. So maybe somebody who knew that you could, if you were at the base and you watch this channel and you know if he was a technician before the Gauss line flap, which is just that the manufacturer of the tapes machines was called Gauss or C-Tech Gauss. But yeah, I got there in May, and I think we got the machines. We finally got, and we would have 3 or 4 all-nighters every week from May until November is when we finally got the machines working. And so he slept in his office under his desk, and I slept at my little quality control desk just next to my desk on the floor. And when I would get up in the morning and we'd have to go to a muster, if we went to bed at, let's say if we didn't stay up all night, let's say we finally, it was like 6 a.m. It was like, okay, we're going to take a nap before muster. And then we just lay on the floor and go to sleep, and then get up at around 8 and go eat breakfast, and then be at muster by 8:30. And then as soon as we'd come in, it was just, okay, here we go again. But every once in a while, I'd go into his office, and he'd just be plopped down on his desk, passed out, and it'd be like, Bob, come on, man, someone's coming. You can't have desk prints on your face from whatever you were sleeping on your desk. But Bob, over the year, I want to say over the next probably year or two, he got everything working, and he would fix anything. And that was the other crazy thing, is he had to fix the machines, the reproduction machines. There was a master machine. There was actually 2 different master machines, a small master and a big master. And the small master could only do a certain length of tape, but the big master could do up to, I think, I want to say a 48-minute lecture. And that's one side. So when you flip over the cassette, you can have 2 sides. That's about an hour and a half. But he learned how to fix the big master, the small master, the slave machines that would do the copying, and then the king loaders, which were the machines that did put the tape into the cassette shells. And then he had to fix my quality control station. And then he was also fixing shrink wrappers and cassette labelers. And so he had to essentially know how to fix all these myriad of equipment that all had nothing to do with each other. Some of them were pneumatic, some of them were electronic, some of them. But, and that's where I was sort of fascinated. It was like, I'm pretty sure this guy's never seen this machine before, because we just bought it like 6 months ago, but he has to fix it if it breaks.
Yeah. He probably grabbed the destruction.
Yeah, he literally was just like, it was, and that's the thing where we worked, is you can't say, oh, I don't know how to fix that. If you're the technician, you have to learn how to fix it. And then eventually,
whether or not you've read the manual, which,
correct,
it's a miracle that, with the amount of sleep Bob was getting, at least most of the time that I knew him and worked with him, it's a miracle he could make it through anything. But yeah, we'll get to that. I have some later stories that I remembered too. So
yeah, it's amazing.
And he told me so many stories about you, Liz, when we were there, and he showed me pictures. You worked at Celebrity Center, right? In the Sea Org. Yeah.
Yep. I was supposed to go to Gold, which was funny.
Yeah, and you had longer blonde hair, right? You had like kind of shoulder length, or
it was like right here.
Okay, yeah. So that's how I remember it, just with longer hair, and in your little Celebrity Center uniform, and he showed me pictures, and I remember he would tell me, "Is your mom's name is Sandra? Is it Sandy or Sandra or?"
Or her legal name is Sandra, but she is known as Sandy.
Okay, Sandy, yeah. So he would tell me, I don't remember him telling me that many Air Force stories. There was another guy that we worked with named Tony Cifarelli, a real wild New York Italian guy that worked with us. And I think he was in the military. And so Bob and him would trade stories, but I didn't know anything about any of that stuff, so I didn't really pay attention to that.
Tony was far more belligerent and outspoken than Bob ever was.
Yes. Yeah, I think I got my sense of humor from my dad, because everything, I'm very cheeky. That's just kind of how it is. The only hard part for me was when, I I'm taller than my dad. My dad is like 5'5",
Yeah.
Yeah.
and my mom was 5'4" at her tallest. And
Oh,
here I was
wow.
5'8".
Hmm.
And it was like, I didn't- which one of you stole me from the milkman?
Right.
That's what we say about our kids now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Our,
my oldest is 6, like he's about 6'2". He towers over both of us.
my two of my kids are taller than me now.
But
Yeah.
I used to justify it all the time. And then all of a sudden I got around my dad's family for a wedding.
Yeah.
And there's no disputing it. It was like all of us lined up. It was, yeah, there's spitting image. And
Wow.
Yeah.
so then once I found the picture of my dad, I was like, okay, I have some of my mom's features, but I look like,
Yeah. No,
Yes, you do.
you
You absolutely do.
100% look like Bob, and especially with those glasses, because Bob had these glasses that he would wear.
yeah, those big bottle cap ones that were
Yes.
like so thick and then had that direct line because I remember
Yes.
those.
And if he was 'cause the property where we worked out was it's about, I think I want to say it's about 550 acres or 560 or something like that. But there's buildings all over the place. And when he first went into be the tapes technician, he was in the tapes department. And then because there wasn't any other technicians for manufacturing, they kind of moved the organization board around so that he was in audio as a technician. But instead of being responsible for just tapes, he was responsible for all of audiovisual manufacturing. Mm-hmm. So he would also help in the HEM, which is the Hubbard Electrometer Manufacturing Division, and the e-meters, where they made the e-meters for Scientology. And then also I think he would help in the AV systems department, and he would help in later on they put printing in there and all these DVDs and CDs. And so when I left in 2005, he was working on DVD stamping machines and the CD stamping machines, and he had all this super, super high-tech equipment that he was taking care of. But if he was walking from from the audio building to manufacturing or any of these other buildings, or even just to go eat, he would have a cigarette in one hand, Marlboro Reds. That's what he smoked, Marlboro Reds, and he had a cup of coffee in the other hand, and that was his
And it was black coffee. That was the part that always got me. It was black.
Yeah,
Like,
and also at the end base, the coffee tastes like sheep dip. It wasn't the best coffee in the world. Later on in the I think in the late 90s or 2000, they switched over to like some fancy Lily coffee or something like that
which they charged the staff up the kazoo for.
Yeah, it wasn't free.
No, it definitely was not.
Free.
Like cappuccinos were like $4 a pop. When you're making $40 a week, that's not many cappuccinos.
No, it's not. Like those of us that had a smoking habit, we got like a specific amount of cigarettes, and then we knew that like when you were down to your last pack, and if it wasn't Friday, you smoke half of a time, and then relight the other half.
Yeah, he would do that. When you smoke half a cigarette, and then you put that unsmoked half back in that pack, it is the worst smell in the world. Mm-hmm. But and Bob had he had blonde hair, like bleached
with
blonde
the
hair.
Magnum PI.
Yes.
Yeah, Tom Selleck
mustache.
Big porn stash. And he would, because he smoked so much, he had those nicotine stains on that sleazy stash that was cruising in under the beak. And he would, and that was his thing. He was always smoking a cigarette and drinking a coffee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
but I will say, Mark and I were talking about Bob. We have several times, obviously, since that fateful day in May when you messaged us on Facebook, Liz.
Hey, I that day was amazing. I was so lost, but it's so nice to hear stories, even if they are after 2005, because for me, it's like, that's a whole year that I stopped trying to contact him because I thought he was dead.
Yeah.
And so I love hearing stories when it comes to my dad.
Yeah. And it sucks to me, just honestly, now I have 3 boys. It's just the shitty part of this is knowing that we worked with Bob for more years than, cumulative than the time you knew him and he's your dad. It's just the brutality of that is unlike anything. I mean, sure, I'm sure there are other cults that do that to families, but this is Scientology is definitely in the top 5 of destruction of families as one of the fallouts, and it just
Yeah.
sucks. It's just not okay. That's why we're here doing what we're doing, and why no matter what happens, we're going to keep speaking out. I want my family back. Mark wants his family back. My kids would love to know their grandparents one of these years, if it's not dependent and conditional upon acceptance of Scientology nonsense, you know?
Yeah. I mean, to be completely, let's say he gets out, because I've been doing a lot of thinking about this with my therapist.
Yeah.
Let's say my dad gets out and he wants to continue being a Scientologist. Cool.
Yes.
I don't care.
I
Sure.
agree.
I don't care. Just don't throw it on me.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the gay. I'm not going to give you the gay, so don't give me the crazy Scientology.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know,
Exactly. Just love the family you have and accept them as they are. That's all anybody ever wants.
yep.
yeah. When did you contact him, or was he contacted to say that you were routing out of the Sierra? Was that like in the early 2000s?
Early 2000s, and then he still maintained contact with me.
Well, I remember him telling me about the whole thing, like, oh, Liz is gonna have to route out, and it was this whole big thing, and I was like, what's the deal? And he was like, oh, she's not qualified for the Sea Org, and it was just like it was a bummer. But then he was sort of like, well, yeah, but we're still gonna stay in touch, and he was never it. The weirdest thing is that when you said that they told you that he had passed away, I was sort of like, wow, that's crazy. But then I think you said that they told you that in 2004, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So because we left in 2005,
We were like,
as
yeah,
soon
no.
as you told that to Claire, I was like, there was no way he was still there when I was there, because I talked to him all the time.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
I
I
was
think
working in the
I even
same
told
division.
Liz, I was like, so to be fair, at that time I was getting so little sleep. I was like under such massive amounts of stress. I'm like, let me just double check with Mark, but I know I would remember something of that significance happening.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, and
Because
then I
knew
asked Mark,
him.
and yeah, because
Yeah,
Mark was in manufacturing up until the day he escaped. So
Yeah, so I saw him all the time. We were, whenever I was going somewhere from that building, I'd walk over with him. We just knew each other for, 15 years. So there's no
Yeah.
way that would happen and somehow I wouldn't know about it. It'd just be unthinkable.
Insane.
So,
yeah,
So it's just another pack of, unfortunately, it's just another pack of lies that they sell to everybody.
well, I was thinking about it the other day. If they tell you, because if you're at the international headquarters and you're going to get out and you're going to go see your family, you're most likely going to go to the ones that still called you or wrote to you or whatever when you worked at that place. But
Yeah.
if they go and tell that person behind their back, they tell their relatives that they passed away, then those people are going to stop writing and they're going to stop calling because there's no one to write or call to. And so you'll think that there's nobody out there that cares about you anymore. And then if you do escape, you'll never think to contact them because they stopped talking to you or they went out of touch with you how many ever years before. So it's sort of like a double-edged thing where the people don't try to get a hold of you, and then you don't think that those people are there for you if you escape. So
right.
So it was basically covering their ass to hurt him and hurt his family at the exact same time.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but the intention was just to completely sever the line. And what kills me is that, obviously they knew that you'd grown up in Scientology and were indoctrinated from such a young age to just believe and accept what they told you, that it makes it even more vicious, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
because I didn't question it. Like, being completely honest. Now I look back and I go, man, you were so dumb.
No,
But-
you can't blame yourself for that. That's
But
not,
in the-
that's what they intended, and you can't do that.
Oh, well,
You can't.
there's quite a few times that I've done that because it's like,
But
I
please
really
don't.
believed it.
I know.
Okay, I will try, but
Please don't, because it's not. And by the way, just to segue for a moment, Mark always likes it when I introduce my segues. I saw people asking if we were going to do giveaways tonight. I propose to our panel here that we do Save Bob Ferris giveaways, Save Bob shirts. And you get to pick, Liz. So I'll take care of the logistics, but we can do some of that too.
Like scroll through and do the random.
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't he have a little machine that does the?
Oh, I got in big trouble for trying to use that. Then we tried it, and yes, it works pretty good once you have it working. I just, I didn't practice before I tried it.
Yeah,
anyway,
we'll do it. What you want to do it? You want to do it at a half hour? Or do you want to do questions, or how do you want to do this, Liz? Do you want to?
Yeah, you're driving this show. We'll keep talking about Bob for as long as you want to hear, and as much as we have stories to tell.
Okay. That was the first. Here, I just sent you a message, but that was the first thought I could think of for anybody that has been there and back for me.
Okay.
Sorry.
You
that was
lost
the first
me,
thing
Liz.
that came to mind.
It's okay. It's okay.
I don't know what's happening. What are we doing here? Are
No,
we
it's
going
all
to do
good.
giveaways?
Yeah,
Are we
let's
keep
do
telling
a
stories?
giveaway
What are we
now,
doing?
and then we'll keep going with Bob stories.
Yeah,
You good with that, Liz?
do it every. Absolutely.
Okay.
I can try to scroll.
Yeah. So
Let's scroll.
say Bob or Save Bob in the comments, and Liz is going to pick the first lucky winner of a Save Bob Ferris shirt or whatever you want from. There's a
Can
there's
she
a couple of
select
different items.
the comments, babe? That's what
Just
I'm
say
saying.
out. Okay. Sorry, I didn't think this through real good.
Yep.
Okay. Well, say the name, Liz, and I'll catch it.
Oh my goodness. Oh, there's a ton of people in there.
There
I just
you go.
popped up the chat there.
Yeah, there you go.
Jane
Save.
Clifton.
There you go.
Jane
Perfect.
Clifton.
Got
Okay,
it.
perfect. Oh, I got it. Here we go. Oh,
Bingo,
yeah.
you're the winner. Poosh, I got it.
There we go.
Save Bob
Awesome.
Ferris. There you go.
All
L. Jane
right.
Clifton Roselle.
There we go.
Yay.
Shoot me an email, claire@blownforgood.com, with the link from the Blown for Good merch store of what you'd like that's Save Bob, and I will send you a giveaway link. No need to send me your address or anything else. It's all pretty seamless on Fourth Wall. So
Nice.
yes.
The
and
other
Liz,
thing,
and Liz, as I told you, once you have your Fourth Wall set up, we're sending you all those designs.
Okay. I think Carrie just started getting it set up because I keep getting
Awesome.
asked like, oh, why can't we get stuff here? And I'm like, because I'm busy talking every day. Like,
Yeah, I know. I'm like, I know how you feel, Liz. You have a job. We have jobs. We're like, this is our passion project on the side, on top of a few other things. There you go. Congratulations, L. Jane Clifton Russell. Marilyn Honig. Yay. Good to see you here, Marilyn. We love you.
oh,
Oh my goodness. Speaking of which, Mark showed me a picture that
The
made
golden
me
rod.
laugh.
Rodney
Did
the
you hear about this,
golden rod.
Liz?
yeah, I saw Mark's comment too.
I want to know if Marilyn, if we can buy 3 of those. I have 3 people that I need to get those for. Golden
Yes.
rods, Rodney the golden rods. And so hopefully, I don't know how long those things take to make. I can't imagine it's very quick, but
Yeah.
hopefully Marilyn can crank out 3 more of those, and I will gladly pay for them, Marilyn. So
Yeah, Marilyn, if you would please email me a link by which we can pre-order or whatever. We have some.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, Marilyn. I kind of want one too, and I don't. Just because it's hilarious, I will keep it away from the dogs. But
I don't know.
I'm not
I have a
gonna lie,
German
it's
Shepherd that
hilarious.
will seek that thing out.
Yes.
I'll be honest.
I have a husky that would probably sit there and seek it out, and
Yeah.
some lab mixes.
nice.
All
other,
right.
The other
Yep.
story I was going to say is that we used to have a tape player in tapes, and L. Ron Hubbard wrote that if you worked in an assembly line or manufacturing type job, it would be helpful and productive if you listened to rock music while you worked. And out of all the crazy things that he said, I was totally in agreement with this. And because of that he said this, wherever we worked in manufacturing, we had these really giant stereo systems that would go really, really loud so everybody could rock out while they were working. And it was sort of this thing. And we would all, and whoever had cassettes and then later on CDs, that's whose music would get played. And the people that didn't would just have to listen to everybody else's music. And so obviously I played a lot of Depeche Mode, and I had about 300 or 400 Depeche Mode CDs of different remixes and albums and stuff like that. But Bob had a soundtrack from some movie. It was the weirdest thing. It had all these random songs on it. And one of the songs that he loved was this. It was called "Catch a Falling Star and Put It in Your Pocket, Save It for a Rainy Day." And he would play this thing, and I was like, "Bob, we got to get you a new tape. Okay, we've been listening to this tape for 6 years. We got to get you a new one." But every time he wanted, it would just cycle through. So there was like 4 or 5 people that worked in there, and every time it would get the Bob, he would put on this soundtrack, and that was one of the songs on there. But he was definitely he was a funny guy. He was definitely, and like you said, he was very cheeky. And he would always tell these super, super lame dad jokes, and just the corniest jokes that you could possibly imagine. And he would pop one of those out every once in a while, or if he would remember some weird, silly joke, then he'd be like, "Hey," and then he'd ask it. But yeah, what was the story that you were going to tell, Claire?
Okay, so my interaction with Bob was more limited simply because I arrived at that property in 1991, and for the first 5 years I was in the staff training area. So I interacted with Bob on the rare occasions when he would arrive for his training time. And I supervised him on the Key to Life course, where he was, you know what the Key to Life course is, Liz, but for anyone else that has no idea, it's the most laborious study of reading all the definitions of all the small common words and using them, all of them in sentences, and then learning grammar and all this other stuff, because L. Ron Hubbard alleged that the reason people weren't getting his orders done is because they didn't really understand the English language. So Bob, being that he was one of 2 technicians to service the whole property, like Mark said, would very rarely make it to his 2.5 hours training a day that was a normal requirement for a staff member of that property. But the thing about Bob is that the few times that he did come to training, he had this he was like one of only a handful of staff members that would be like, "Oh, I need to go to the bathroom." "Okay, go ahead." So he would go to the bathroom and he'd come back and you'd be like, "Dude, you were not in the bathroom. I can smell the cigarette smoke on you. You clearly went outside and took a break, but that's okay." It was just one of those unspoken things like, I'm not going to go there.
Yeah, he couldn't survive long without a cigarette.
Right. Yeah.
And that used to crack me up, because like when he got libs once, like full lib, when his mom had passed away and we were putting his ashes out to sea, or putting her ashes out to sea.
Yeah.
That was the only time I ever heard my dad sing before. It was very painful. I'm glad I love him, but it was definitely very painful. So I am so sorry, Mark, you had to go through that, but Amazing Grace was so worse.
I can't imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I thought a seagull died.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there was any other. Every once in a while he would learn. It was funny because that Tony guy, the New Yorker guy, I think he might have been the oldest person there. I think he might have been older than Bob and Clarice, the other woman that we worked with. Clarice was
is Shelley Miscavige's sister.
Yeah, Clarice Barnett. She was Shelley's sister. So we would see your dad. Your dad probably was dealing with David Miscavige for that 15 years, because every time he came down when that thing was broken, he was talking to Bob and Bruce and this other guy named Gary Lou, and it was those three guys that it was always like, hey, what's happening with this? Who's fixing this? And so your dad, he was sort of kind of like, I'm trying to figure out how I can explain it, find the words. He was sort of like, he was really good at fixing the machines, but he was not really good at having a conversation with David Miscavige.
Yeah. No, not many
Because-
people were.
Because you have to really be like on your toes and be playing all these mental gymnastics to just even have a conversation with him. And if you didn't tell him the right answer, even if it was the correct answer, but not the one answer he wanted to hear, then you could get in trouble. So, but Bob was pretty, over the years, he knew, I just have to tell him the most minimal amount of information possible, and I'll be fine. And, but I remember that one time, it was right before, we got those machines fixed in the November of 1990. But I want to say in August, there was a flood at the property, and the entire base, the entire Sea Org base, was assigned a condition of confusion because there was a flood and it wrecked the property, and because we weren't prepared for a flood. And if you were late for a muster once, you had to stay up all night and do amends. And then if you were late a second time, you went to the Rehabilitation Project Force in Los Angeles. That was it. You were offloaded from the property. And this one morning, we were staying up all night, and Bruce, the other technician that worked with Bob, he was sleeping under Bob's desk, and nobody went in to wake him up. And it was sort of like, Bob, go in and get him. Bob was like, nope, I'm not doing it. And that Bruce guy ended up being late for his second muster because of that. And then he went to the Rehabilitation Project Force. So Bob was not only having only to fix those machines, but he was then being asked to fix other stuff that the Bruce guy used to be fixing. And it was a giant mess. And then Bruce ended up coming back after having a haircut and a whole bunch of nights of sleep down in Los Angeles. He was a million times better when he got back. But Bob was just like, nope, not doing that. Mm-mm. If he wasn't up for it, he wasn't doing it. He was just like, nope. It was just very matter of fact. Yeah. And he didn't.
And
he
by
didn't
the
put
way,
up with a lot of nonsense.
No. And by the way, Liz, we will put you in touch with Bruce, because I'm sure he has a ton of Bob stories.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah, Bruce
Again,
actually,
it's filling in the gaps.
Yes.
Totally.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and Bruce actually, we went and had breakfast with Bruce in the state that he lives in. Just how long ago was it, babe? Like a month or two ago now?
It was October, I think.
In October, yeah. So, and Bruce is doing amazing. And yeah, he could probably tell you more stories than anybody, because he worked with, even after, I only worked in that manufacturing area until about 1995. And then I moved to different areas. I would go to tapes all the time, but I didn't work there. But Bruce and him were technicians together
for many years.
For probably,
yeah, I'm sure there
years.
are tons of stories there that would gladly be shared with you, Liz.
And he remind me, he's 72 by now, right?
He just turned 73. That's why I went down there for Thanksgiving.
Wow.
Yeah, it was his birthday.
That's so wild. I can't even believe I've got these Scientology spy files that I've been reading, and I found all these crew lists of the international headquarters and where they're sending people and who's getting offloaded and who works here. And they have been getting rid of people from that property when they get like in their 60s. Like, nope, they're too old, they got to go. But see, that's the thing. I don't know how they would. The problem with that property specifically is it's almost impossible for a Sea Org member to get to that property. So a new Sea Org member, because
especially
of all of,
even more so now.
Yeah. And to get somebody there that could then fix all of these different pieces of equipment that exists there, I don't even know how they would even do that. I just don't know how they could train somebody.
Replace him?
Because he has decades and decades of experience on fixing these machines. So I can't imagine that, he did we educated guess is when they called you looking for him, he had escaped from the Sea Org.
Yeah.
So they were panicking to get him back. And obviously, if anybody hasn't followed the story, we did there was a welfare check, and the law enforcement did say that he is there at the property now, and they identified him. So
Yeah, and to reiterate that here, Liz, you reached out to us in May, and I remember being so confused originally because you were like asking me like, has the
the freeloader
collection
policy
policy changed?
changed?
And I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, because I thought he
And
was
you
dead.
you said you know, I don't know if you know my dad, Bob, Robert Ferris, and I was like, yeah, absolutely. And you were like, has the collection policy changed? And I was just like, I told Mark, I'm like, I'm so confused. I don't know what's going on. And I was like, what do you mean? And you're like, well, they're calling, trying to collect his freeloader bill, which is the bill that they give to a Sea Org member who leaves the Sea Organization or who escapes. Like in my case, it was $96,000. In Mark's case, it was $60,000. You know, so they're telling you they're trying to collect on his freeloader bill. And yet this is 2023, and they told you in 2004 that he
That
passed
he
away.
died. So
Yeah.
I literally thought that they were going to come after me because again, I know Mark says it all the time because every time I hear Mark say it, the freeloader Scientology can't put it on your credit report. I really thought they were going to put it on my credit report.
No,
I'm sorry.
and that's fair.
Like,
You know, that's fair. They were calling you from a position of authority saying, "Where's Bob?" And you're like, or, you know, asking, "Is Bob?" What were they asking you exactly?
it was,
had you heard from him?
have I heard from him? Yeah.
Right.
And so
Yeah,
I
and
was
you're like, "Why would I hear from
what?
him if you told me in
Dead.
2004 that he passed away?"
Yeah.
Seriously.
Because I don't touch Ouija boards. And of
Right.
course, you want to make all those jokes in the moment. Yeah, I went and saw a tarot card reader and she said that he's good. Yeah. As far as I knew, he had died in 2004. His family thinks that he died in 2004.
I know. It's
And
so
some of them
yeah.
believe me that he's alive this whole time, and others are like, nobody calls and says someone died.
Yeah.
Scientology does.
Crazy.
Scientology does.
He's not dead.
So wild to me that they would even
Oh.
that they would say that when you told us that, I thought that's the weirdest thing. But then it happened with another person, and then it happened with another person, and then because we had talked about it, then other people started telling us, oh yeah, they told me the same thing. And then people started saying, hey, do you know about this person? Or do you know? And we're like, yeah, those people are all still alive. And another thing that you can check, and I was reading this by going through these Scientology spy files, is you can check the voter registration for that county where Golden Arrow Productions is located in Gilman Hot Springs in Riverside County, and you can search the voter registration to see who at that property is registered to vote. And so that is another way that people, if they want to see if their loved ones are still at the property or they're still alive, then they can check that voter registration if they're American citizens and they're able to vote. There's all the foreign nationals that are there on religious visas or whatever. There's no way for us to really check them. But before I forget, Claire, I went ahead and redirected this feed on our channel. I redirected it to a video that Denver Steve-O is going to do at 7:30.
Oh,
so
sweet.
I just wanted you to kind of keep track on that. We've got about 17 minutes.
Okay.
But just so that we know. But one last thing I wanted to say about Bob and how old he is that a lot of Sea Org members are not thinking of what they're going to do when they're not able to work. They think the Sea Org is going to take care of them when they get to that point.
Or they're so tired and exhausted that they just don't even think that far into the future.
They're hoping that everybody just drops the body and calls it a day.
Or who knows? I don't know. It's weird. Like, I was thinking about this the other day. I was 30 years old when I escaped, and I quite literally thought my life was over, just because I had, been working insane hours, so little sleep. I couldn't think myself out. out of a paper bag pretty much. I was so exhausted half the time. Um, I don't know. It's just weird. But I know that there are staff members on the other hand at that property that do care about this and that had started to make a stink about it. Like one of those was Barbara Griffin. She was she was over the finances for Religious Technology Center. So highest ecclesiastical organization run directly by David Miscavige, and she was so angry when elder members of the Sea organization were shipped off that property. Like she was just literally yelling and screaming like, this is, anyway, I won't even repeat it because it's rude, but she was really on fire about that, correctly so, to be fair. You know, because she's like, what's going to happen to these people? What's going to happen to her? Like she was already an elder, you know, getting up there in terms of years and starting to have physical problems. And it's just so it's not given the proper attention. There just is no plan because Scientology is incapable of change because L. Ron Hubbard died in 1986. And if he didn't say it, they can't do it, you know? Anyway, I know
if it's not written, it's not true.
Yeah, exactly. All of that insanity. Yeah, I know, me too.
Yeah. Anyway, so I do think, though, at a certain point, if he is not able to work, they have been moving these Sea Org members when they get elderly. They have been moving them to homes, and hopefully, because they're getting lit up, these homes are getting lit up, and they're putting them in these substandard places. Hopefully, they do get into a pattern where they just send these people back to their family or put them back in touch with their family. I'm hoping that's what eventually happens, but hopefully, you know, we can track him down, or we can, you know, get a hold of him before he kind of is moved somewhere where we can't find him.
Yeah, where we can't touch him or do any of that. And to be honest, if they want to put him down the street from AOLA, hint, hint, OSA, if you want to just go ahead and put him down at that building, I'll come pick him up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, I'll get in my car and I will go pick him up right now.
Yep. And who cares what he believes at that point? He just needs to be able to live out his days with his family.
Yeah. Don't give him back to me in a box.
Yes, exactly.
I'm gonna scream bloody murder and make sure that everybody knows about you.
Believe you me, I have been there. Like, anyway, not to digress, but when, so in December 2019, Mark's dad was at the end of his days with stage 4 cancer, and Mark's sister, Stephanie, had not talked to Bernie since we had escaped in 2005. And Bernie was never in Scientology. So to me, it was the ultimate injustice. Like, all Bernie ever did was help us escape, for crying out loud. That's all he ever did. He was there for us. Anyway, in December 2019, I was prepared. Believe you me, I was like, World War III is about to commence on you, Scientology. Mark my words. And fortunately, Stephanie called him one last time. And that was, anyway, not to get off on a tangent.
It's okay. Tangents are okay. That's how we learn.
It is. It is. So, you know, our heart is in this. And Liz, you know, we're here for you no matter what.
Absolutely. I definitely understand. And you know what? Any people that can give me stories about my dad, I am down for. I would love to hear. Because again, it's missing pieces.
Yeah.
Like my last communication with him, you know, when I was still in the Sea Org, was that I was going to be going to Gold. Thank God that didn't happen.
Thank
Sorry.
God. Thank God. Seriously,
You know,
thank God.
I was supposed to go to HCO and stay in HCO until they finally needed someone that could sing. And then my dad wanted me to be singing all of the LRH songs.
Oh my God. Thank God.
He's like, your voice would sound so beautifully on these tracks. And I'm like, cool. Okay.
That's awesome.
Oh,
want
thank
to
God that never happened.
do we want to spend the last few minutes going through any questions or
Yeah,
Yeah, if we can.
we can do another giveaway too.
okay,
This time you pick.
whatever you want to do, Claire.
Yeah, let's do a giveaway. Save Bob or whatever you want in the comments. Liz, just call out who you'd like to win. Mark's really good at catching it. No pressure, honey.
I got to catch up now too. I got to go a bit down to the bottom.
Okay.
Hold on, let's do it this way. Okay, the first. Oh, I didn't say Bob.
Yeah, save Bob. That's what everyone's writing in there. Oh, there's
Yeah,
a
or
lot
Bob.
of people in here.
Save Bob or
Oh, yeah,
Bob.
we got
Either
almost
one is
500
fine.
people in here, so that's
Nice.
Okay, so the Linky Lou.
Linky
That's where
Lou.
it stopped. LINKYLOO.
Oh, I see it. Okay, hold on. Boom.
got it.
Linky Lou. There you go.
Congratulations,
you win.
Linky Lou.
Congratulations.
Can you say the email again? Because the last winner is, I think she's been asking how she gets to it too.
Yes, please send me an email. Claire, CLAIRE, at blownforgood.com. And just send me a link of what you would like of the Save Bob merch.
Just go to the Blown for Goods merch store. Link is in the description below.
Yes, and we'll send you a giveaway link. So you don't have to send the address or anything else. Just send the link for what you'd like, or even just the item description of what you'd like. And I'll send you back the giveaway link, and the rest will be taken care of.
Awesome.
There we go.
Do you want to do some questions?
Yes.
You want to put them up? How about I put them up, you read them?
Okay, sounds good.
So people don't have to listen to me yap any longer.
Yeah, and so if anyone has any other questions you'd like to put in, let us know. Kimberly Stovall, so good to see you here. Yay, so glad you are here. Back at you. Like I said, we've been talking about doing this for quite a while, and unfortunately Mark has a challenging travel work schedule. So
yeah, I've been traveling for
it.
like the last 2 or 3 weeks has been all over the place.
Yeah, and leaving again early tomorrow morning. Yep. Kelly H., such a treasure for Liz to learn more about her dad. Keep hope alive. Let's help clear the planet of Scientology. Boom.
I'm down for that.
I am so down for that. It is time. Degraded Daughters of Dianetics. I love that this is happening. Happy heart, Alicia. So good to see you here, and thank you. Yes. Nana Lathrop, thank you for the super chat. After telling him I was triggered with so many stories of torture on SPTV, Doug sent me to BFG. The dude will make you laugh. In my opinion, they're trustworthy. They ain't gonna get a new ride with Aftermath Foundation donations. I'll miss him. Oh,
nice.
Rest in peace, Doug. Seriously, it's just a sad day.
Rest in peace, Doug.
Ugh.
Yeah, we had fun. We had a lot of fun. I have had some chats with Doug while he was on SPTV once we started. I didn't actually know him in Scientology because I was in the Sea Org, and he was, I think he was a public as far as I knew. But
he was in from, I think, age 9 until 30 or into his 30s. I know he got up to OT3, and
yeah, but so I think the only video that we did together, we did a werewolf
with Kelly Copter. Yes,
Kelly Copter, and
that was so much fun. He
so
literally
hilarious.
threw me off Denver Steve-O's scent.
Yes,
he was one of the werewolves, and Denver Steve-O was the werewolf, and I, oh my gosh. So Liz, I don't know if you saw that, but I was being called Claire Wolf, which I really objected to. It's just an unfortunate coincidence that Claire rhymes with were. I mean, I'm sorry, guys. It was my first experience doing anything like that. And Doug, I can't remember what he said, like right before he got eliminated, but somehow he managed to throw off the scent of Denver Steve-O.
Yes.
And then we were down to like Michelle Carpenter, me, Denver Steve-O, and maybe one other person. I can't quite remember. But like I had this light bulb moment where I was like, oh my God, it's Denver Steve-O. And then I started fighting, but then I was being too defensive, allegedly. I mean, to be fair, it's kind of an automatic response to want to defend yourself, right? You go like, wait a minute, this is not fair. Anyway, so as I got slid off the show, I was like, it's you, Denver Steve-O. And Denver Steve-O won. So there you go.
The other fun one was then when we did, I think it was when we did that one, or when there was another one of these game things that Kellycopter put on, Clearwater Chad couldn't get his audio working. And so he was just out the whole entire stream because he couldn't get his audio working. But then in the next one,
my gosh, it was so funny.
He was like the mayor, or I don't remember exactly, but when Kelly asked him a question, he was supposed to put up a thing. But instead of putting up the thing, he said it when he put it up, or he did something. He outed himself. And then Doug, and then the funniest thing was when they came.
I think Doug was a werewolf that time too. He's like, well, now I know who to get rid of.
Yeah, but the best
somebody
thing
just
he goes,
outed themselves.
And the best thing he goes, last stream he couldn't get his audio working, and this stream he gave himself away because his audio was working. He hadn't muted himself. Anyway, it was so hilarious. I was done.
Good.
Okay, back
I'm glad you guys have fun. There's one question from Alex at 622.
Okay.
I'll find that one. Just keep.
Kimberly Stovall, happy to see my favorite people, sending so much love. Awesome. Thank you, Kimberly.
Okay, I'll put up the next one. Or you put them up, Claire, so I can go look for that other one.
Oh, okay.
622, you said, Liz?
Clara in the house. Thank you for the super chat, Clara. We love you. No question. Just sending love to all three of you. Sending love right back to you and Dalton. Thank you so much for everything you do. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm completely off the ball here. I'm not good at this. Okay, Gilda Stewart. Mark, was Bob's soundtrack to Never Been Kissed? It also had a song by John Lennon and one by Cyndi Lauper, among others.
Yeah, I don't think it was that. I don't remember the soundtrack. It was a very
He was
odd...
an 80s guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, that song
probably
was way
Flashdance.
before the 80s.
Flashdance. That was Mark's mom's favorite.
And we did have
too.
Flashdance. We had Flashdance, Footloose. We had a Billy Joel one. There was it was so random. The one we had Queen, "Don't Lose Your Head," the Queen soundtrack from Highlander.
Highlander! Random. Oh my God.
So please remember. I couldn't find that one. I think it might be on your channel. I don't have it. What was the name? What was the person?
It was Alex.
Alex Apostate. You want me to just read it?
Alex.
Yeah, just read it. I don't have it.
Okay. So, Apostate Alex, question, Liz. How can we, as viewers, be support in your mission to find and make contact with your dad? Hit subscribe, smash the like. I'm going to keep getting out the word as best I can. And again, I go on daily just for tips and tricks.
Yep. And I will say that there are all kinds of programs going on behind the scenes. We recently launched the Aftermath Connect program, which is where anyone who has lost loved ones to Scientology, whether it be a friend or a family member, you can make a listing and people who know that person can also comment. There are also many other things happening behind the scenes with law enforcement, which we can't comment on, but we have a crisis line now set up and all kinds of other things coming. There's a lot of important work that has happened this year to create resources for people who understand what's happening in Scientology and understand what members of the Sea organization are going through, and yet they don't have all the resources or know what to say or do necessarily to help that person. So there's a lot of good things in the works, and we'll keep doing that.
Yeah. And somebody was asking in the comments, Doug is another creator that passed away. Bob is Liz's dad, who Scientology said passed away, but he did not.
Right.
We found out that he is still alive. And that's how Liz came into this community, was because they contacted her asking if she'd heard from her dad. How many years after they told you he'd passed away?
Almost 19 years.
Almost 19
years.
years.
It was just shy of 19 years.
And Liz reached out to Mark and I on Facebook asking about this, and we were like, hell no, Bob didn't die.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. And we now know that to be true because the Riverside County Sheriff's Office did meet with Bob in person. So we absolutely know he is very definitely not dead. The rest of the story has yet to play out, which is why we're all here continuing to do what we do. The focus is this vicious, dangerous cult that nobody needs to get sucked into. So there you have it.
Awesome, guys. Well, thanks for joining us, Liz. We're gonna wrap it up because we're gonna redirect into Denver Steve-O's video that's starting in about 10 seconds. So is there anything last
Hold
thing you
on,
want to say,
one last
Liz?
comment here. One last comment. Fancy Pants RN. Liz, what is a funny memory you have of your dad you want us to know about him?
He did not like my mom. He knew that she got migraines, and so I guess the funny memory would be he always used to make me, or when we would go like toy shopping, he would pick out the loudest toy that would definitely, get me into some massive trouble. So, and he's like, she won't mind. She won't mind. Yes, she will.
That's the best.
That's
Loved that I
hilarious.
liked video games.
Nice.
That's amazing.
Awesome, guys. Well, thanks for joining us today, guys. If you want to find out when our next videos come out, like I said, we've got these spy files come out. We've got more Scientology stories that are going to be coming out. Claire's even got some more Where is Shelley Miscavige stories that are coming out.
Yes.
Or
And don't
episodes.
forget to subscribe to Liz's channel too. Liz, you want to give a plug for your channel?
At Pokemon and Colts, because I love
Nice.
Pokemon.
Perfect. And we'll
Nice.
put a link in the description of our video to Liz's channel as well, so you guys can go there. And then we'll put a link to the other video that we did when we first talked about this whole thing when it first came up as well. So
Yeah.
um,
We love you, Liz. We're here to keep hope alive.
yes.
Love you too. Thank you so much. Have a great time and forward them on over to Denver.
Yes.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Till next time.